Are you up to the maths lesson dividing decimals? In this video, I'll detail 3 important keys that will unlock this skill, making it quicker to progress to the next lesson. Now the first key. Here you'll understand exactly what is happening when you divide decimals. You could be faced with 3 different problems: dividing whole numbers, dividing decimals by whole numbers, and dividing decimals by decimals. All 3 can be perfectly illustrated by the scenario of going on a road trip with family or friends. Imagine if you needed to travel 1,000 kilometers on a big road trip, and you ended up breaking the trip into 4 equal segments. This is dividing whole numbers. The next scenario. If you were traveling 689.2 kilometers and you need to break up the trip into 4 equal segments, this is dividing decimals by whole numbers, and this video's skill is needed. The final scenario. If you were traveling 912.6 kilometers and it is recommended to break the trip into 4.5 equal segments to ensure you're traveling safely, this is dividing decimals by decimals. Again, the new skill is needed. Now the second key. Here you'll learn exactly how to divide decimals by whole numbers. If we were given the following problem, this tells us to break 4.6 into 2 equal groups. Step 1. Rewrite the question in short division form. What is the placement of each number? Which term goes out the front and which term goes under the division bar? The 2 is here and the 4.6 is here. Here is a diagram to visually see 4.6 getting divided into 2 equal groups. Step 2. Make the decimal point in the answer line up to the decimal point in the question. Step 3. Complete the division as normal. Add zeros to the end of the decimal if needed. Starting with, how many 2's go into 4? Which is 2. Then answering, how many 2's go into 6? Which is 3. Giving us an answer of 2.3. Now the third key. Here you'll learn exactly how to divide decimals by decimals. But first, you need to learn one critical step. If we had the following 15 divided by 3, remember we can write division questions as fractions like this. Both represent the same thing, which we know is 5. So if division questions can be represented as fractions, that means we can use the skills in the fractions topic. Do you remember this skill? Are these fractions the same in value? Yes, they are, because they are equivalent fractions. To make equivalent fractions, we multiply both the numerator and denominator by the same number. This skill is the critical step that transforms dividing decimal questions into questions that you already know how to solve. If we had the following fraction, this is just 1.8 divided by 0.3. To make equivalent fractions in this form, we multiply both terms by the same number. Multiplying by powers of 10 is the easiest choice. What is the shortcut when multiplying by a power of 10? Yes, move the decimal point to the right by the number of zeros. If you completed both calculations correctly, they both will give you the same answer. Making equivalent expressions is the critical step that transforms problems into easier problems you know how to solve. Let me show you the exact steps to solve. Step 1. Make an equivalent expression where the second decimal transforms to a whole number by moving the decimal point the required number of places to the right. In this case, multiplying both by 100. Step 2. Divide the first number by the whole number. We first add the decimal point to the answer. Now dividing each digit. 5 does not go into 1, so we write a 0 and carry the 1 to the next digit. Next, we ask how many 5s go into 14, which is 2, remainder 4. Then how many 5s go into 45, which is 9. Finally, 5 goes into 5 once, and we are done. You now know all the key information on this concept. However, can you solve all exam style questions? Watch this next video to master questions easily.